Hey guys, Courier6 here with the Kaladesh Express, and today we're going to be talking about one of the commanders from Outlaws of Thunder Junction that I really dig, and that's Eris, Roar of the Storm. Yeah, I love Eris, Roar of the Storm so much. I tried Stella Lee, I tried Elena, Divergent Storm, Veyran, Voice of Duality, Ral, Monsoon Mage, even Kaza, Royal Chaser, and none of them were really working for me. I really like Eris because it does a different deck building restriction than most other spell slinging decks, and I find that to be really cool. But yeah, I'm going to check out the deck, explain to you how it works, and just look at some of the cool cards I have in there. I really like showing off my cool cards to you guys, and I hope you like looking at them. And if you do, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and let's jump into it. Alright, let's begin with our commander, Eris, Roar of the Storm. Eris, I'm not exactly sure how to say the character's name, however, it is a very cool one. It's a 10 mana, 8 blue and red for a legendary creature, Elemental Warlock 4/4, that has the ability, the spell costs 2 less for each different mana value among instants and sorceries in your graveyard. It also has flying and prowess, and when you cast your second spell each turn, create a 4/4 red dragon elemental creature token with flying and prowess. This card is fun. It is the most fun Izzet commander in my opinion, and it also forces a very interesting deck building restriction where you need a bunch of different instant sorceries in your graveyard. So for a commander like this, we have a slew of different instant sorceries at different mana values. Let's start with the 1-drop instants and sorceries. So for our 1-drop instants, we have Strict Serenade, Lightning Bolt, Rapid Hybridization, and Pongify. Just some good, solid removal. Then for our 1-drop sorceries, we have Vandal Blast, of course, classic. Ponder. Really like this Doctor Who art. I'm not sure who this character is. I've not watched enough Doctor Who, but I absolutely adore this art. We also have Faithless Looting and Serum Visions, the favorite Serum Visions art for most entrenched Magic players. That gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1-drops, which is a pretty decent amount. I think for a Spellslinger deck you probably want more, but this isn't just a Spellslinger deck. Let's go on to our 2-drops now. We'll start with our instants. Again, we have this new card from Modern Horizons 3, Sea Smash. I like this a little more than a Braid currently because of that split second clause. Can absolutely save you in Commander. We also have Galvanic Iteration, Izzet Charm, and Counterspell, of course. And then as far as our 2-drop sorceries go, we have Finale and Promise, which does count as a 2-drop in the graveyard or anywhere else. Finale of Revelation, same thing, it's a 2-drop. Expressive Iteration, and Cathartic Reunion. I absolutely adore this art. Everything this artist has done so far, Jesse Ledoux, I have been in love with. And that gives us 8 2-drops in the Instants and Sorceries category, which is, again, probably less than you'd normally want to play in a Spellslinger's deck, but we do need those different mana values. Looking at our 3-drop Instant Sorceries, we have Rush of Inspiration, which also counts as one of our lands in the deck, because it is a MDFC. This is a tap land, however, which is kind of bad. We also run Chaos Warp. Another Bridget Roca art, The Mystical Dispute. Love this, need to get this signed as well. Theoretical Duplication is just kind of a fun card. It's not particularly great, but being able to copy your friend's commander or whatever is pretty neat. Got Counterflux, super nice. And Frantic Search. Love this full art foil. And for our sorceries, we have far fewer. We have Solve the Equation here, Windfall, and Lock and Load. That gives us 9 3-drops in the Instant Sorceries category, so pretty decent spread so far. We run a lot of Instant Sorceries in this deck, so that'd probably be the cutoff for other decks, but we are still somewhat Spellslinger and we need a bunch of different cards. So 4-drops instance, we have Rewind. I am looking for the VHS one of these. I hope to pick that up in Vegas. Big Score, absolute classic. In the same vein, Unexpected Windfall. We do want some cards that are going to dump cards into our graveyard, so Unexpected Windfall and Big Score are not as bad as you probably think they are. And then for our 1 4-drop sorcery, we have Mystic's Mastery. It's very useful. It lets us replay some of those instant sorceries from our graveyard and, you know, make use of them again because we do want to ditch some of them to the graveyard. Then we have Rousing Refrain as our 1/5 drop in the deck, or 1/5 drop is a sorcery. It is super useful to be able to get that repeatable mana if the game goes long. Then for our 6 drops we have 2. We have Boon of the Wishgiver. We're almost never casting this card for 6, we're just cycling it, but it does put a 6 drop in our graveyard to help get out Eris early. And Elemental Eruption is a card we hope to cast one day, maybe, but it makes more of the exact same dragons our commander does, which is nice. And then for our lone 7 drop, we have Elemental Mastery. It creates 2 blue dragons, which is fine, but we're really here to discard it to put a different CMC in the graveyard. For our 8 drops, we have 3 of them, surprisingly, or not surprisingly if you know how Spellslinger decks typically work. We have Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, and
Fast and the Furious.
The Fast and the Furious, yes. This counts as an 8 drop, but it gives us 2 spells to cast that kind of do what we want to be doing anyway. This one discards cards for us. This one is board wipe. So that's for our 8 drops, and our 1/9 drop instance and or sorcery is Blasphemous Fact. When with our setup like this, we have a slew of 1 through 9 drops to make Eris cost up to 18 less, which is pretty great. If Eris ends up going back to the command zone over and over again, we can then recast Eris for very low. And that does it for our instances of sorceries in the deck. We run 37 in total, which is a pretty good amount to make sure we can reliably cast Eris for 2 mana on like turn 3. Alright, so for our not instance and sorcery non-creature cards, we have Arcane Bombardment, Shark Typhoon, and Mystic Remora, which are pretty good. And we run 1 Planeswalker in the deck, and that is Dak Faden. Being able to target and steal your opponent's stuff after you ult him is pretty good, and you at least I can't say everybody, but at least I have been able to ult him the couple times I've played him and actually got him to stick, which is pretty nice. We only run 4 rocks in the deck: Soul Ring, Izzet Signet, Arcane Signet, and Talisman of Creativity. We don't really need that much ramp. Our curve is still pretty low. As far as our creatures go, we run a bunch of really cool ones. A bunch of the commanders I talked about before: Elena, Divergent Storm, Stella Lee, Wild Card, Veyran, Voice of Duality, Ral, Monsoon Mage, Kaza, Royal Chaser. These are all commanders I have attempted to run as the commander of this deck in the past, and I didn't really vibe with any of them until I found, Eris, of course. We are running some more creatures though. These 2 are the MDFCs for the deck that come in as bolt lands, but they also do some pretty cool stuff. So this one can help retarget and protect your commander, and this one is like an Archaeomancer but in red, which is pretty nice. We also just kind of run Archaeomancer because Archaeomancer is fantastic. Run Spellseeker. Got this one signed by Douglas Schuler in Magic Con Chicago, and I love it. This is some of my favorite art in the game right here. A bunch of the cards from the commander deck from Outlaws Thunder Junction. Got Thunderclap Drake, Crackling Drake, and Archmaid Emeritus. So just a bunch more standard stuff. In addition to that, we're also running Crackling Spellslinger, Octavia, and Stormkill Narnis, again, just from that commander deck that came out with Outlaws Thunder Junction. These cards are fantastic, and I don't think I'll ever run another Izzet Spellslinger deck again without Octavia. It just works most of the time. Then for a couple cards you probably didn't expect to see in the deck, we have Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, Nezahal, and Sprite Dragon. Now I'm running Gandalf because it gives our sorceries the ability to be cast at flash speed, which is pretty good. Nezahal, I just have Nezahal and I like throwing him in blue decks. There's no real good reason for him to be here, but I really like him. And Sprite Dragon's kind of the same reason. I think this card's neat, and I think it's pretty. Then our final 3 cards are Goblin Electromancer, Kitza, Otterball Elite, and Gutter Snipe. Classic Spellslinger card, Gutter Snipe, don't need to explain that one. Probably same thing for Goblin Electromancer. Kitza's the new card from Bloomburrow, and I like it so far. I don't know if it stays in the deck, but right now I'm having a fun time with it. And I did pull a foil of it, so I really like it. And that does it for the deck besides the lands. As always, I don't really like going over the lands in the deck unless there's something specific to mention. Mystic Sanctuary is real good. Reuse your instant sorceries. Isengard from the Lord of the Rings, really good. Make sure your instant sorceries can't be countered. It's also just Besage You, Shelters All. And Cephala Coliseum is another good one. We want to put stuff in our graveyard, and sometimes just being able to cycle like this is pretty good. And yeah, our lands are pretty basic otherwise. And yes, that'll about do it for our Eris Roar of the Storm deck. I think this is a super fun Izzet commander. If you've been playing Stella Lee in the deck and not tried this one yet, I highly advise you do. It is super powerful and super fun to play. And yes, that is the Eris Roar of the Storm commander deck. At least mine. I like playing decks that are a little unconventional, and Eris wasn't the most popular commander to come out of Outlaws Thunder Junction, not by a long shot, but I think she's super fun, or he, I don't know, they. I think Eris is super fun. I think the card's very unique, very powerful when it gets going. You can set it up pretty easily like I showed in the deck, and you get some really cool payoffs. It's mostly still the Outlaws and the Junction Precon Commander, so it's not too expensive. I did just swap out a lot of cards with other variants and foils, but you can build most of this deck using the Outlaws and the Junction Commander deck as a base, which is nice. But yeah, let me know if you built it down below. Let me know what other commanders you'd like to see. I've got some other commander decks I'm going to be showing soon. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.